see the chat. If my... All right, there we go. All right. So as we take a few minutes for everybody to get in here, I have a question to pose to you guys. Which would you rather? Which would you rather host? A game show or a talk show?
Ooh, oh, wow, great question.
For me, it'd probably be a game show because I'm really bad at generating conversation.
I think it depends what kind of talk show we're talking about here. Because if it's like Donahue, that doesn't interest me. That's not even a relevant reference. What's a current Donahue? Oprah. You know what I mean? Like your classic like mid-afternoon talk show, the Maury's of the world. That doesn't interest me. But if it's like it was like a David Letterman or like a Conan or something, I'd be way into that because then you get to express yourself a little bit as well as just do interviews and stuff.
I was thinking about like a daytime talk show as opposed to like...
You were thinking like an Oprah?
Yeah, like
an Ellen.
Like The View. Yeah, like an Ellen or The View.
Oh, then I'm definitely in the game show category because I think game show hosts get to express themselves a little better than a talk show host. You know? Like Steve Harvey on Family Feud is hysterical.
Okay.
Like the faces he makes when people make the dumbest things, like that's very funny to me. I think he still gets to he gets to rip on people, like it's fun.
Right. You get to be a little more judgmental, certainly, as a game show host, which I enjoy.
I watch a lot of Family Feud because it's fine, and I love that. Like, it's like, which one of these things? We asked 100 men, what do you not want in your mouth? And then a dick. And Steve Harvey's like, oh, you can't say that on TV. Ding, number one, a dick.
That's tremendous.
Classic Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm also in the game show camp. That'd be just so much fun.
Have they announced who was replacing Alex Trebek?
That I've seen.
Yes, kind of.
Yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, Ken Jennings is taking over as interim host.
Really?
Oh, that's a good choice for interim host.
Yeah. Until they, I'm sure, just pick, like, Kevin Hart or something.
Sure.
Chris Tucker.
And this is Jeopardy, starring Monique.
One of TLC. That's alive still.
Which one? First question.
Yeah. Question.
I'll take members of TLC for 100 TLC.
Who is Left Eye? Oh no! Oh.
Good times.
Oh yeah.
Great times.
So we're going to welcome everybody to another Dream Team Stream Team, another Tuesday afternoon. Gotta make this quick because I have some Fortnite to play with my nephew in a little bit. Sorry, everybody. But also, I'm not sorry because Galactus has to fall. We need to kill him.
Priorities.
Yeah, we have to save the Earth. I'm your host, the man of 1,004 names, Tyrell Snickle. It's like Bell Snickle.
Oh, Tyrell Signal. So it's like a one word.
Tyrell Snickle.
Tyrell Snickle.
Oh, that makes more sense. There was
Cheer or fear. Tyrell Snickle is here. Have you been impish or admirable?
That's a good bit. That's like one of the few late office good bits.
I totally agree.
Oh, yeah. Find me on Twitter at 1004 names. You guys know everything's down below. But continue.
I'm Faith. You can find me on Twitter at Carly Pilkers.
And I'm Killer Greg. You can find me at Killer Greg 17 on Twitter. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. My goal, I started this year with the goal of getting 5 followers, and we're only 4 away, guys. We're
That's
almost
right.
there.
I'm pretty sure
I
I'm-
believe in you, Greg.
I want to see those numbers go up.
I believe in you.
if this gets 40 likes on this VOD,
Dick pics coming this summer.
dick reveal. There we go. Next
Wow.
next episode, dick reveal.
Yep.
That's big.
No, that's not what you're gonna say after I reveal it.
Spoiler alert.
So today we are eschewing our usual top 5 for something a little bit different, which I like to call the one,
Whoa, I like that.
Yeah.
where we will do our best to settle on one answer to a question, and that question is, what is the worst movie ever made? Out of what we have decided. I'm sure there's going to be, we all have our own caveats, our own rules that we
Right.
do to
I definitely
ourselves,
have
you
my
know.
own criteria for this. So
Yeah.
course.
maybe you followed it, maybe you didn't, but this stemmed from a conversation we had last week. If you want to go back to that, and I'm sure we'll recap a little bit, that I had asked if Suicide Squad was the worst movie ever made, and we just said we sort of put a cap on the conversation, and decided to move it to this week to give it some attention.
And I thought about it a lot, and I decided
Me
no.
too.
No, it is
Yeah.
not.
I also made that decision, but we'll get to it.
So,
Who's first?
I'll kick things off. I usually never do, because I have my own caveats that I wanted to address here. Parodies, I did not. I X'd out. Like,
That's
I
a
mean-
good call.
Epic movie, date movie, movie 45. Those are all terrible. We all know that.
Right.
They shouldn't be made. It's fine.
Yeah.
They don't count.
Right.
I skipped milked franchise sequels. Dumb and Dumberer, Son of the Mask. Terrible movies.
Right.
That's a good caveat too.
sure.
I don't know how I feel about it. Did they make a Dumb and Dumber movie with Jim Carrey again?
Yes.
So there's 3 Dumb and Dumber movies, right?
Yes. There's Dumb and Dumber, Dumb and Dumberer, and Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd, and then Dumber and Dumberer, I think. I forget what the third one was called.
So to me, if under this umbrella, I would not count When Harry Met Lloyd, but I would count the other Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels one as a potential.
All right.
That wasn't my pick though, so it doesn't matter.
I also skipped video game movies.
Okay.
Mainly because
That'll come back.
they're all pretty much trash. Mario Brothers. I think there's a few moments in there that are like worth watching. A House of the Dead barely counts as a movie. They have a Sega rave.
I feel like you could cut. I agree with your criteria to an extent, but there's still like 2 levels of video game movies. There's like the Max Paynes and the Assassin's Creeds, which I think legitimately tried and sucked. And then there's the
Sure.
Blood Rain, House of the Dead, Super Mario's, that Dragon Ball Z movie. Like, I know
Yeah.
it's
There's a
not
Dragon Ball Z movie?
Yes, it's
yeah,
awful.
It's awful.
And the
It's
one
weird and awful.
that was my pick until I added this criteria was Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
I actually like that movie a little bit. It's bad, but I don't hate it.
But yeah, those are my criteria, and that's why I picked the movie that I did.
Okay.
All right, Ty. Unveil it yourself.
The movie that I picked as the worst movie that should be destroyed is I Feel Pretty.
Is that the Amy Schumer one?
The Amy Schumer one, where she is a fat chick who gets a head injury, and then she feels pretty because she's got a concussion.
Yeah.
And then, because it's a movie that it's a comedy with one joke, and that joke is, hey, what if fat people had confidence? You know, wouldn't that be hilarious? It's insulting to everyone who watches it.
Right.
It's mean to everyone. There's no jokes in it, and it's just awful. It is hateful, mean spirited, and everyone, they expect it to be like oh wow, look at how amazing this is because Amy Schumer is pretending to be thin, and she's not even that fat.
Right.
Right. That's like the
It's a
most
normal human.
egregious part of that movie to me, is that, like, is she thin? No. But is she unattractive? Not really.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, she's just an average, normal human.
Right. She's just what people look like.
a
So
solid.
the real question is, what if people had confidence?
Yeah,
Think of the places you'll go if you just believed in yourself a smidge.
yeah.
Right.
And also, even outside of just her own foibles and terribleness, like it all follows on all those terrible things. Like her unattractive friends are like, "Wow, you're being really mean to us now that you think you're pretty," and all the pretty people in there are like, "Wow, you're stupid if you think you can hang with us." Like it's all like there's nothing different here. It's not like, wow, if you're confident as well, they're actually good people too, but don't forget your old friends. It's like, no, if you're pretty, you're just a dick to everyone.
Right.
So it's just it's offensive and unfunny, and it's so mean and terrible, and I just
And it makes a terrible, inaccurate point
yeah,
for no one.
it misses everything it should be doing. It just misses everything.
And
Right.
it doesn't even work as like one of those, I want to say body swap movies, but it's really not. You know, like
Right.
nothing changes. She just hits her head. You know, like a Freaky Friday or something. You actually switch bodies and learn something about the other side.
Sure.
There's a movie I actually enjoy. As far as Rebel Wilson, she basically does the same thing where she ends up in a coma, but she ends up in it's an entire universe of rom-coms.
Huh.
So like one of the Hemsworth boys shows up and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm like so in love with you," and they like they do a thing. She's like, "Well, I'm also Rebel Wilson, so why is this happening?" She goes to her house and it turns out it's like this lush New York apartment, and they actually play off the tropes of those movies. And in the end, she realizes that she's actually in love with the guy who she's been winking at for the last like 2 years at a real job, which is the guy from Pitch Perfect and Workaholics. Shit, I gotta look it up. Sorry.
I mean, you lost me at Rebel Wilson, but it does sound like at least a concept that, I mean, whereas...
It's hold on, give me 1 second. Isn't romantic? Isn't romantic? It's
Okay.
a fine movie and it does everything that I Feel Pretty was supposed to do.
Right.
Except it's actually kind of funny. Adam Devine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just it's a solid movie. It's worth watching. I will say that. But man, I Feel Pretty is just it's a movie for no one, aimed at everyone.
Right.
Watch me, cause you need to understand how oppressed you are. It's like, no, I'm just not a dick.
The thing is, like, on a deep down level, I respect what it's trying to get across.
Okay.
Like, the issue is that the big issue is her like self-esteem, and maybe it's important that she's not that ugly, but like, the idea that you should believe in yourself, and if you do, you can accomplish things. That's like a relatively okay idea.
Sure.
It ignores the concept of like depression and stuff, where like it's not about self-esteem; it's about, you know, body chemicals and stuff.
My brain tells
Right.
me I'm terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you know, the idea of like, well, buck up. Like that doesn't work on people. That's not how being depressed works.
Right.
But they don't do a good job of explaining that she's depressed. They just sort of say that she's kind of like goofy and has low self-esteem.
It's funny because she's fat.
Right.
And now she thinks she's not fat.
Right. I don't know how you make this movie nowadays with like tact and grace.
They made it a year ago, Greg. We watched this. This is on Bad Movie Friday.
Right, but I'm saying, like, how do you convey, like, how do you get the subtle nature of this issue in a comedy? I don't think you do, right?
Well,
Maybe not.
you don't need the subtlety if you're actually making a comedy. You can just make a
True.
comedy. Like, I mean, fuck, in 2000s, Shallow Hal did it almost the same way. Where it's like, yo, body doesn't matter. It's all about who you are inside. It was the worst remake of Shallow Hal I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem with Shallow Hal, though, is that he actually did see her as pretty. So, like, the lesson he learned was not believe on the inside. It was, oh, she's hot. So, therefore, I can get with this lady.
Yeah, but at the end of the movie, she's still Gwyneth Paltrow in a fat suit. But he's still like, yeah, I'm not what I usually consider attractive, but I still love you. Let me carry you down these stairs somehow. Because you are Gwyneth Paltrow, who's supposed to be like 500 pounds.
Paltrow? Gwyneth?
Rip.
Yeah. I
It's
just don't think it's a
delicate.
movie that needs to get made.
It's
No.
delicate subject matter to begin with, and it was just handled very, very ineptly.
Amy Schumer-esque, you might call it.
Yes.
But she's so funny. Remember, she was preggers for a while.
Nope. I don't remember the funny.
Like, bring the funny if you're gonna make a comedy like this. You
Make
can
it
have
funny, yeah.
you could have that heartfelt like moment.
One
But-
sec.
Okay.
You don't need, like, don't preach to me during your movie.
Right. But it doesn't sound like it was even preaching, though. It was just like, hot people are dicks.
Yeah, that's kind of the preach.
If you're hot and you know it, you're a dick.
It's so bad.
It's a bad moral.
It's a bad
that,
movie.
that makes no sense.
And I actually picked this over like a few other movies because I found this one more offensive.
Sure.
Because it was supposed to be a big deal. I mean,
Right.
but man. Way to upset everyone, Amy Schumer. Just go back to
Yeah.
your comedy specials on Netflix that upset everyone. Because of how unfunny you are. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It feels it also feels like it's a movie that's like 60 years too late. Like, just super tone deaf.
But seriously though, is it romantic? Rebel Wilson, Liam Hemsworth, Adam Devine. That's legitimately like the wife and I like go to movie. We went to movies. We can't do that anymore. We saw
Right.
this on Valentine's Day in the theater. We were both like 7 out of 10 hammered. So a few months ago, we were looking for stuff to watch, and I was like, "Oh, let's watch this." And like halfway through, we're like, "Did we watch this?" We did watch this, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But I mean, we finished it, and it's funny. It's self-aware. Self-awareness is key when you're dealing with like heavy, like things like this,
Sure.
you know. But that's why you don't hire Amy Schumer if you want self-awareness.
That's a good rule of thumb no matter what you're doing.
So, have you seen Avatar yet?
I noticed that cropped up on some lists as I was doing research. Unfortunately, I haven't seen many of the worst movies ever.
Yeah, there are a lot of weird lists.
Yeah. Battlefield Earth is another one that crops up a lot.
That movie's hilarious. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Again, I haven't seen it. some of the standards, like The Room and Plan 9 from Outer Space, I find really charming and adorable because I love a singular vision executed in just the very best way they could. And it's terrible, but it's still charming and entertaining because for what it is.
No, it's someone who had a vision and they wanted to see it through,
Right.
regardless of the outcome.
Right.
You know,
Which I love.
And that's how you make cult classics. You know, that's what we
Right.
have. Ed Wood. You know, that's what we have.
Right. Right.
Midnight screenings of The Room.
Right.
So it's
And
just
as I was saying to you before, Plan 9 isn't even Ed Wood's worst movie. So I don't know why it gets categorized that way, but I don't know that it's necessarily fair. Yeah, he's made worse. He's made worse.
Aliens are landing.
I don't know that it's
Aliens are
necessary-
coming down.
and they're undead for some reason, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. But I don't know that it's necessarily fair to weigh movies like that against movies with like a Hollywood budget and a proven writer and a proven director and big name actors. I feel like they're two totally different universes.
Yeah. That's why that last Pirates movie didn't make it on my list.
Right.
What,
right.
What did I miss, guys?
Oh, we were talking about how like the bottom 100 lists are usually pretty okay. Things like
Yeah.
like Plan 9, The Room, those are all always on their
Right.
like bottom 100s. And they're not that
Right.
bad. They're just
You're saying the lists are okay, or the movies on the list are okay?
Yeah.
movies
on the list.
Yes.
Oh, so
Right.
you're saying like, oh, these are the worst movies ever, but honestly, they're kind of whatever.
Yeah, like,
Right.
like
right.
like is The Room the worst movie ever? No, absolutely not.
Of course not.
It's up there.
But as I was saying, that's one guy's singular vision that he was able to execute, and I think that's really charming in its own way. And I don't
Right.
know that it's necessarily fair to weigh a Tommy Wiseau or Ed Wood movie against something that has a budget and a writer and a director.
Absolutely. When you ask, is Transformers 3 worse than The Room, it's really not a fair comparison. 'cause
Right,
They're two
right.
different beasts.
Right, exactly.
Wiseau versus Snyder. Who wins that battle?
In a fist fight, not Zack Snyder. Wait, question: is the fight
Wiseau
in
is
slow
snappy.
motion?
Yes, but there's a bunch of cuts, and also Danny's there. Denny's there.
Oh, 2 for 1. You can fastball special him into Zack Snyder.
Gotta get Denny in there.
Snick, snick.
So it's just drugs, though. It's like,
I just want to watch.
I just like being around you two.
It's like watching you be romantic in your bedroom. Pillow fight.
So my
I
worst
like Danny
movie.
Wolverine. Oh,
My-
there's the Batman.
My worst
Yeah.
movie went to I Feel Pretty, starring Amy
Yeah.
Schumer. Who would like to go next?
Faith.
Faith,
Okay.
you're next.
So I really struggled with this because, in general, I gravitate towards bad movies. I like bad movies.
Oh yeah, we all
But-
do.
But for me, it's more like a crummy horror movie, and it's almost always something low budget and just a scrappy director who had a vision. So I haven't seen a lot of like terrible wide release big movies. So as I was going back through doing some research, I discovered this movie, The Conqueror, from 1956.
Oh.
It was funded by Howard Hughes, so there was a lot of money in the budget. It was a film about Genghis Khan, starring. Do you have any guesses?
Ben Kingsley.
Oh. Boy. Fred Astaire.
John Wayne. Arguably the worst actor at his level that has ever been. Also, a white guy. I mean, it was a different time, so I guess that's understandable. But they were filming this movie downwind from the nuclear testing in Nevada. So a lot of the cast and crew, because of this movie, wound up with cancer. So to me, that is the worst movie ever.
Well,
The one that gave them cancer. The one that literally gave them cancer.
I guess.
I mean, I didn't know we were doing like crimes against humanity here.
We were talking about the content-wise,
caveat.
not
Yeah, no, that was my caveat.
the
No, look, it's your own list. Your own list of one.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
face caveat is she wins.
Yeah.
I just going through just random lists of worst movies ever, and most of them, again, I haven't seen or I actually enjoyed, and so I decided that the one that gave people cancer probably was the worst to me. So
Yeah.
This
No,
is the greatest poster I've ever seen. It's just John Wayne's face photoshopped onto like a karate poster.
yeah, if I can find it, I would love to actually sit down and watch it, because fucking John Wayne as Genghis Khan.
It's
Although-
basically just John Wayne with a mustache. Look, if Benedict Cumberbatch can be Genghis Khan's descendant, I guess now we know which Khan he was referring to.
All right, John. Action. Ching chong bing bong. Pilgrim.
That's what I'm imagining.
Whoa, no. Whoa. Cut.
Whoa.
Cut.
You can't say Pilgrim, John. Everything else totally fine.
We'll fix it in post.
Yep.
A+ on the Ching Chong Bing Bong.
Yeah, no, you're nailing it, buddy.
Downvote on the Pilgrim, please.
You're fucking nailing it. Yeah. So.
All right, Conqueror, I love it.
That's
Yeah.
that's an interesting pick, and that's something we definitely
Yellow
do.
facing cancer together
We-
at
I mean-
last.
Racist.
We finally got there.
There's a lot going on there.
This is something we will have to watch together. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah,
Okay,
if we
do
can
it.
find it, I would love to. I can only imagine the nightmare.
I'm doing it right now. Amazon.boop.
We can watch it on Amazon.
Fucking A.
This video is currently unavailable. Oh no. Oh, this is something different.
It might be tough to find.
Boo that shit.
$20 for the DVD.
After seeing the Conqueror himself, according to Wikipedia.com, Hughes bought every existing print for $12 million and refused to let the film be seen on television until 1974.
Howard Hughes. What a
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, that's how much shame.
I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy.
Yes. Even tissue box wearing, long fingernail Hughes was like, no, I gotta fucking reel this shit in.
Guys,
Let me tell
I
you the,
guys,
let me tell you the tagline for this movie. All right,
Ching Chong Bing Bong Pilgrim.
not that close. There's a lot of dots in this that are gonna go miss. I'll try to accentuate those so you know it.
Sure.
All right,
I am
listening.
Temujin, barbarian. I fight, I love, I conquer. Like a barbarian.
Pilgrim.
That's good writing.
Guys, I can buy the VHS tape is only $14.25.
Yeah, but then you got to spend another $5 on the VHS machine.
You guys don't have VHS players anymore? I will buy the VHS tape. I will film it on my phone and I will send it to all of you.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, now you get it.
Oh.
All right, so I guess we're at me, huh?
I appreciate your pick, Faith.
Uh-huh.
I am going to disqualify you because you haven't seen it. So
Okay. I didn't know that was a prerequisite.
We made our own criteria. That was part
Yeah.
of the criteria.
We didn't lay that down. So.
yeah, but I'm going to
Yeah.
disqualify you because it's my criteria. So
Alright, fair
so sorry. I'm not that sorry. But that good pick. I'm very much looking forward to watching this with all of you.
Me too.
All right.
Oh,
Oh.
one second, Greg.
All right. Bye. I always loved you.
I hated that pick so much. He's running away. He's gonna leave us here in limbo.
Yeah, your pick made him have to shit. Oh no, he didn't go in the bathroom, so he's all right. Oh, yeah. My dad and I built like a pyramid kind of thing, like a triangle, sort of
Okay.
like makeshift shed, because I wanted to build a real shed, but I didn't get around to doing it this summer.
Okay.
I was so busy with this pandemic that I just didn't have time to accomplish my goals. Well, when I left, it had started to blow away. So I had to go reposition and cinder block it down real quick.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna have to address that issue later. After
Yeah.
What are you cinder blocking?
I built like a little lean-to thing to protect like my snowblower and my grill and stuff for the winter.
Gotcha.
It was blowing away, which is why I left a minute ago.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh.
So hopefully it's there by the time we're done.
Yeah.
I did a quick refill of a drink because I believe after Greg's done with his pick, this is when the real argument and discussion begins.
Oh,
So
okay.
I want to be prepared for it because I
Right.
intend
It's
to.
possible. I mean, again, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you my pick, and you're going to tell me it's fine. Like, you're going to be like,
Okay.
no, it's a fine movie. You're being overcritical. But I'm hopefully going to prove to you, gentlemen and ladies of the court, that I have in fact picked the worst movie of all time.
Objection!
Nope, too late. You can't object before my opening statements. I'm allowed to
Okay.
say whatever I want.
Shit. All right. I'll hold off on it.
And but spoiler alert, it's all an opening statement. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Fuck!
Also, typically the jury doesn't object. I think that's like against the rules.
No, we're all
That'd be fun,
prosecutors
though.
against your defense. You're the defendant because you're
No,
the
you're
wrong.
jury.
No, we're prosecutors. We're all prosecuting each other,
I'm me?
and we're also
Yeah, you're you. You're you. Ty's the judge.
Okay.
I'm David Hasselhoff. Everything. Makes sense.
Ooh.
All right. So
hit that turbo button,
Here-
buddy.
here were my criteria for this.
All right.
As Faith sort of described, and as we talked about last podcast, I think intent is important. I think that The Room was as good as The Room was ever going to be.
Right.
Therefore, it is disqualified. I also think like a lot of like Cats. I think Cats could definitely be on this list. But like, how good was Cats ever going to be? Like, I can't
Right.
imagine a successful Cat. So when you're starting from nothing, how do you accomplish anything more than nothing? I don't know.
Right. And for me, it was even no matter how bad a movie is, if it still entertains me, then
Right.
it's still fine. Like, because all I want is to be entertained.
And that is relevant, and that's very relevant to my pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then you look at things like Fan Four Stick, which most people consider a failure. I like that movie, but not necessarily because of the movie it is, but because of the potential I saw in that movie.
Okay.
But Josh Trank had never directed anything like that. You know, like he did Chronicle, so he did a superhero movie, but Chronicle was like a $6 million movie, and Fan Four Stick was $175 million. Like,
Right.
Josh Trank was not ready to direct that scale of movie, and they shouldn't have picked Josh Trank. So I would exclude that from my list because, again, it was set up for failure right from the beginning.
Okay.
All right.
So my pick is the movie Ready Player One.
Fuck.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna lay down a lot of reasons as to why I think it's the worst movie ever made.
Sure.
And I'm going to do my best to not make the point of it is vapid nostalgia, because
Right.
that is the point that almost everybody makes for this movie. Is it's
Right.
not really a movie; it's just a hey, look at that, hey, look at that, hey, look at that. And while that is important to my argument, it is not the core of my argument, because that's almost as far as most people get.
Right. Okay. So we'll just take that as read.
Yes,
Vapid
that is.
nostalgia is in there. Yes.
We are all in agreement that it is vapid nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, this movie had everything going for it. It had a major motion picture, like production company. It had
Sure.
Steven Spielberg, possibly the greatest director of all time, like
Right.
especially the greatest blockbuster director of all time.
He invented
Jaws,
it.
Indiana,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Jaws,
Oh, yeah,
Indiana Jones,
yeah.
Jurassic Park, all that stuff. It was based on a very popular book. Now, your opinion on that book goes both ways. I actually started reading the book this week.
Okay.
It is better than the movie, but it is still shit.
Okay.
I love that in the book they go to school but they just play Joust on their handhelds or something.
Yeah,
fun.
I mean that's the first test in the book. Like in the.
Oh, that's
Have
what-
you
yeah.
guys seen this movie?
Yes,
I have not.
All right.
I've seen this movie.
I think based on both of your opinions, I have not.
Yeah, isn't every school when they go to school they're just learning nostalgia shit, right?
No, not really. Yes and no. I don't know. It's hard to describe. The book is shit. I don't know
Okay.
if I said
Yeah,
that or not.
it's
Good,
yes.
you did say that. You led with that.
So, it had a huge budget, $175 million. That's a lot of money. It's a lot
Sure.
of money to fuck it up.
Sure.
A popular, beloved to an extent book, a brilliant director, and it still failed. So I think that's very relevant to this. Like this should not have failed.
Sure.
So my main issue is that the movie stands for nothing, but it pretends that it does.
Okay.
So the core conceit here is that the real world sucks. I mean, like, epically sucks. Like, nobody lives in rural towns anymore because there are not enough resources to be so far from a major city. So everybody has like congregated on like small cities here and there. This movie takes place in Columbus, Ohio for some reason. And the book takes place in Oklahoma City. But that's such a weird thing to change.
Yeah.
That's a real nitpick moment, but like I don't understand why one is better than the other.
No, I think that's a great thing to bring up. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, which Midwest town are we going to set our mega blockbuster in?
Yeah. Like they're both terrible picks.
Right.
Ready? Oh, I don't want to derail this. They've announced Ready Player 2.
The book is out. The book came out this week, which is relevant because I'm actually a little bit annoyed that the book came out this week because it makes my pick seem topical, but that's certainly not the intent.
I saw they were doing. I heard they were doing a sequel to the movie as well, and I immediately forgot all about it until you brought it up.
It was too traumatic.
So in this shit world, the only outlet anybody has is this virtual game that literally everybody plays all the time. Like, you go to work in the virtual reality, you go to school in the virtual reality, you do your playtime in the virtual reality. Everything is done in the virtual reality. And because of that, the entire world is going to shit. The entire world is already going to shit, and it kind of like is a self-perpetuating cycle.
Sure.
So based on that information, what do you think the moral of this story should be?
Play
There's
more.
several options, all valid.
Stop playing. Play more. Fix your life. Get out of your fucking basement, Ty. I mean, sorry.
Nope. Stop projecting.
Fix the real world. Get out of the virtual world.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at your actual life. Life is worth living.
Right. These are all good things. Yeah.
You would assume that was the moral of the story. And the
Sure.
movie kind of tries to make that the moral of the story at the end, but it doesn't work because it's like literally a throwaway line. And not only is it a throwaway line, but the solution to that problem is dumb as fuck.
The ending negates the entire solution. It negates the entire movie.
Right. So, in this game, the creator has died, and in it he left an Easter egg that you have to find. And if you find it, you get possession of the game, as well as automatically become the richest person on the planet.
Okay.
So our main character, Wade Watts, he is what they call a gunter, which is the stupidest name I've ever heard in my entire life for anything. It's short for egg hunter. But is it shorter? I don't think it is. So it takes an already short, easy thing to say and makes it dumber.
It's definitely it's definitely dumber than Egg Hunter.
It's important to note that every single thing in this movie is dumb.
Yeah, it's
right.
Not like that was a mistake or whatever. It's just dumb. Like, this is a stupid idea. This is a stupid idea for idiots that would never ever work.
Was that the tagline?
It should have been.
Even Spielberg.
E.T. 2. Stupid ideas.
So, this creator, Halliday, I forget his first name. I have it in front of me. What is it? James Halliday. He made this virtual game called The Oasis. And in it, he has hidden this Easter egg. And because everything is so dire, like the real world sucks so hard, everybody consumes all of their time with trying to find this Easter egg. That's a bit of a broad stroke, but it's the general point of the movie.
Okay.
And in order to do that, people have washed themselves with nostalgia in an attempt to get into the mind of this creator, James Halliday, because he was obsessed with nostalgia. Like he really liked, Family Ties and the game Adventure and stuff like that.
War games, right?
In the book, it takes the whole second act. It takes place in the movie War Games.
It's literally them doing word for word the script from War Games.
Yes, like that's the test. Can you remember all the words in War Games?
That is some lazy ass bullshit writing.
Correct.
The only win, and you know what? The only winning move is not to play.
Right. But again, okay, so look, Ty's talking about the book right now. This is not in the movie, but I'm going to talk about that for a quick second because that's fucking stupid. That's literally the point of War Games, right?
Right.
And in the book, they make a special point of accentuating that line. So you would think the moral of the book, the way to win the game, would be to stop playing.
Yeah, that's
right.
Spoiler alert, that's the second challenge.
Spoiler alert,
there are more after that, which they continue to beat.
Spoiler alert, they also cut that out of the movie.
Yeah, well, that would have been good in the movie, I guess.
They do something completely different in the movie. Continue, Greg.
So, because the creator who hid this Easter egg was obsessed with nostalgia, the concept is everyone else is obsessed with nostalgia.
Okay.
Which is a mildly interesting idea. Like, it kind of explains to an extent why everyone, especially nowadays, is trying to reclaim that, Now, the book came out in 2011, pre-MAGA. But when you think about it, Make America Great Again, it's appealing to that same ideology. Like, things are shit now.
Right.
I really wish we could be in a time when things weren't shit.
Right.
It obviously ignores all sorts of problems.
Of course.
But
I've spent a lot of time talking, especially with Faith, about, who controls the past controls the future. It's all about who owns nostalgia. Like, if you're, you read the Jenica Ninja Turtles cartoon or comic book. It's like we take everything that was the past, we twist it to where we want it to, and then push it forward. It's like people who write articles about how, it turns out Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that cartoon you loved when you were a child, It's about how capitalism destroys people when they're not worthy of, they don't fit in the mold or whatever. You know, it's just.
Right.
But so it's all about owning the past and pushing it into our future.
Right.
Yeah.
Rewriting the narrative to fit whatever
So,
your agenda
yeah.
is.
I'm not trying to recount the whole movie here. I'm not going to go beat for beat.
I kind of want you.
I would love to.
I kind of want you to because I'm so into this right now.
So, but almost immediately that premise falls apart.
Can I hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
Bulletproof Pretty Boy in chat. Mike from Mystery Science Theater 3000 analyzed the book for his podcast. That's exclusively about shitty books. He literally gave the podcast its title, 300-700 pages we'll never get back.
That's fun.
Thank you, Skylar. Appreciate that
Yeah,
one.
That's a good one. So,
Sorry.
everyone is supposed to be obsessed with pop culture from the 80s now so that they can know James Holiday better and hopefully solve his riddles about the past.
Okay.
But that doesn't actually explain everything. Like, why, though?
Right.
Why do we think the answers are in the past? Like, I get that we could think the answers are in his past, but just because he liked video games from the 80s didn't mean he liked all video games from the 80s. It
Sure.
doesn't mean he liked every Ninja Turtles iteration. It doesn't mean, and like, in this movie, they have the Ninja Turtles in there, but they're the fucking Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. You're trying to tell me that if this guy was obsessed with the 80s, that his favorite iteration of the Turtles was going to be the Bay Turtles?
That's real
Like,
weird.
it doesn't make any fucking sense. It does not
Right.
make any sense why everyone is obsessed with nostalgia.
Right.
That's like saying if someone was obsessed with Roman culture, they started dressing like a centurion.
And also, it's also the wrong nostalgia. Like, how far back do you go? We have like Claptrap from Borderlands is in there in that movie.
Right.
It's like, oh man, do I need to complete Borderlands as like Maya to win an Easter egg? Do I?
So they sort of half-ass explain it just so they can shoehorn things in.
Correct.
Yup.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's where that vapid reference thing comes from. Like, that's why this movie
Right.
sucks on that level, because they attempt to justify these things, but they aren't there to further the plot. They aren't there to further the story or create this world that is important. They're there so you say, I remember that. And then you get a little dingle in your tingle, and now you love my Ready Player One.
Hey, I remember Claptrap. Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Oh, that's a Godzilla. I like Godzilla. I like this movie.
And like, I recognize there's some irony to here, and this is how human. I mean, just look around me. I mean, literally, I like Ninja Turtle, Ninja Turtle, Ninja Turtle. Like, I too surround myself by the things that remind me of my childhood,
Sure.
like a better time, like things that, this coming out of their shells tour poster. That's there because quite literally, my greatest memory as a kid was going to that concert on my 6th birthday.
So wonderful. I've seen
Which
that
is
too.
adorable.
Right. And like, I had that exact poster hanging up in my room when I was 7, and I like having it here because it reminds me of a time where I didn't have to worry about bills and taxes and being overweight and shit like that, So like, I understand the appeal of nostalgia. I don't mean to like,
Sure.
crack on it. But this movie doesn't appreciate these things. It just lets them exist and hopes that it conjures some sort of emotional reaction out of you, the viewer.
Right.
There's no purpose to it.
Right. There's no intentional plot
Right.
that they're contributing to.
And conceptually, this stuff isn't supposed to mean anything to the viewer. It is supposed to mean something to the main character.
Okay.
But it's assuming that you will make a connection between the two that it doesn't actually set up for the viewer. It is poor. It is relying on too much that doesn't actually exist in the text.
Right.
So we have this character, Wade Watts, who is supposed to be the greatest gunter or something. I don't know. There's supposed to be something special about him, even though there is nothing special about him.
I think he's supposed to be like an every man, but you're supposed to think he's special because he knows people.
I guess, yeah. Oh my god, I'm getting so off topic. I need to stay focused.
It's like every
I've
man.
rehearsed this in my brain, and I'm already so far off.
So Wade Gunter, go.
So Wade Gunter. Now, it's important to know that literally nothing makes sense in this movie from a physical point either. So they show him on a treadmill in his like little hideout, thus implying that everything he does is like happening to him in the physical world also. That literally makes no sense from video game perspectives.
Right.
Like, you're telling me he's actually running right now, and he has been for like a really long time?
For these, have seen it. The community episode where the dean gets the VR, and Jesus wept. And he's just like running against, like, he's got little booties on. He's running against like a flat surface. It's like.
That's very much what this is like.
Yeah, it's almost honestly this like exact same thing, except it's supposed to be like realistic.
So, Wade is trying to figure out what he has to do to complete the first challenge. In the movie, it's a race, like a car race. In the book, it's playing joust in a forest.
Okay.
And everyone tries to complete this race, but they always get to the end and King Kong smashes the cars. Happens every time. It's been happening for years. That scene, I will say, is fucking awesome in the movie. Like, it is one of the most visually compelling scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Looks cool.
Okay.
In a movie that looks like shit, by the way. Like, I legitimately think this movie looks bad, but that scene, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is quite literally the only good part of this movie.
It is compared to the rest of the scenes. This is the one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But so everyone races this race and they can't figure out how to beat it because King Kong always beats him at the end. Like, it's a tough race anyway, but then at the end it doesn't matter. King Kong is always standing in front of the finish line.
Okay.
In the movie, there is basically a visual library of James Holliday's life, the creator, where you can go and basically like voyeur in on his everyday conversations.
Bow, chicka,
Okay.
bow.
Yeah, I mean, how is it
Weird.
not a porn wing, right? Well, I mean,
Right.
that's kind of the point. Quite literally, the point at the end of the movie is kiss the girl, or you'll be a recluse and possibly autistic. I don't know if it was supposed to cause that, but
Don't be an incel. That's
that's kind of the moral. But also, it's kind of like it's kind of reinforcing incel ideology.
also be an
Like-
incel.
Like, if you just make a move, the girl deserves to be yours. I'll get there.
Weird. Weird and gross.
I know. I have 25 minutes to finish this conversation. It's gonna be tough.
I believe in you.
Thank you. So the Percival. Oh, his real name is his video game name is Percival. Also stupid. Terrible
Very.
fucking name for an avatar.
Yes.
So Percival is like, oh, how do I beat this race? How do I beat this race? Let me randomly pick a video of the creator and hope that the answer's there. Spoiler alert, it is. So he goes and he watches a conversation between Holiday and his partner Ogden Morrow, who's played by Salmon Pegg. Total waste in this movie.
Okay. That's a
And
shame.
at the end of the scene, the James Holiday looks literally directly at Wade and / us, the viewer, and says, "I wish we could go backwards, like in Bill and Ted."
Like
just-
if you were playing a
just
racing game, just hold
Yeah,
reverse.
If I were playing a racing game right now, I wish backwards was the answer. And then he winks. He doesn't wink. But
Wink.
he might as well have winked. It would have been. It wouldn't have been any less subtle if he had winked.
Kevin
Well,
Nash.
do a diagram of like a little car, and then with like a backwards arrow,
Kevin Nash walks
then,
on
like-
screen and goes wank.
and then like a little medal, like he draws it right there. So now super genius Wade Watt, who knows James Holiday better than anyone, after
Right.
minutes of of research. He's like, oh, we didn't go backwards.
Isn't that the first thing a lot of people do in racing games? Like the moment.
Yes, and that's a point Rich Evans made in his Ready Player One video. Right. You're telling me for 5 fucking years,
No one's
everyone
gone
has failed this race, and not a single person was like, "Oh shit!" Listen to me. There have been times where I'm in my driveway, and I've accidentally backed up.
Sure. Of course. Of course.
Like, you're telling me no one thought to back up. And again, that's a nitpick. Like, I'm not cinema sensing this.
Yeah, no.
But
You never do.
It is this type of thing that truly, it adds up. It adds up to this pile of shit.
Right.
And it also doesn't understand video game culture. This is a movie about video games. And the general premise is like, look at all these speedrunners out here. You know, these people who can beat Mario, who know Mario inside and out, and they can beat it in 5 minutes, and it's unbelievable. But here's the problem.
Look at these gunters.
See, speedrunners are not universally the best at every game they play.
Right.
They spend all of their time, every waking hour where they're not at work, learning how to beat Super Mario and Super Mario only.
They break it.
Cosmo knows Ocarina of Time. He doesn't speedrun Wind Waker. You don't just know everything about every game.
Yeah, those skills don't translate.
Right. So it's literally impossible to have the idea that like Wade Watts is just perfect at every video game. And then on top of that, it makes no sense that these characters wouldn't just go backwards. Like it would just happen.
In 5 years of an internet VR experience, there's not been any trolls. No one's been like, haha, I'm gonna go backwards and just fuck everyone.
Right.
Right. Makes no sense.
I apparently the first person to figure that out, that first Easter egg was XX fuck you 69 XX your mom. Who's never told anybody? I don't know.
So he rides backwards, and he gets the first of 3 keys. He has to pass 3 challenges to get the Easter egg to become a billionaire. And then he tells his friends for some stupid reason. And this comes into a different thing. Once again, we're talking about what kind of morals does this movie pretend to have.
Sure.
Percival makes a real special point to be like, I don't clan up. Everyone's in a clan. I don't clan up. I'm a lone gun. Except he already has a group of close friends that he does everything with.
Hello, friends. Here's how to win this.
Right. So he immediately tells his 3 friends. So he's like, I'm a lone gun. I can do this on my own. Oh, also, please help me, if you don't mind, my best friends in the world, who I do everything with. So that's all very stupid. So again, you would think the moral is, you can't do this on your own. You know, James Holliday was a recluse. He had a friend. He pushed his friend away, and he was sorrowful for it. The moral of the story is you can't do things alone. You gotta have friends. You gotta clan up.
One single man's here. Just going down here.
Right. Spoiler alert. That is not the premise of the movie.
Ah, shit!
He just does everything on his own. So
what's the point of the friends at all?
Yes.
Comic relief. He needs someone to fall in love with, and he needs someone for there to be a subversion where it actually turns out the big, like, mega dude was actually, like, a cute little girl the entire time.
So,
Weird.
and during this race, he also meets the love interest of the movie.
Okay.
A hyper independent, totally capable girl
Okay.
who he's immediately in love with.
Okay.
Wade Watts, a whiteboard of a human being, immediately in love with the interesting, capable girl who doesn't need him. Spoilers.
Right.
Um,
Okay,
Womp
well,
womp.
this is the only part so far that makes sense to me.
yeah. I mean, this is some real incel shit.
Right.
What's your OnlyFans?
Also, the only girl in the movie.
Mm.
No, that's a lie. There's another one, but she's a lesbian, so she doesn't count.
Thank you. Finally, someone says it. I've been thinking it the entire time.
All right, so it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, is what you're saying.
Yeah. That girl might not be a lesbian. However, the actress, I think in real life, is a lesbian, and anytime I've ever seen her in a role, she has been a lesbian.
Okay.
So maybe I'm reading into it, and she's not supposed to be in the movie. But again, it would make sense if she was, because she, the lesbian, is best friends with Wade. So, like, if she wasn't a lesbian, it would make sense that Wade would love this person once he realized in the real world it was a girl.
Sure.
Not the other way around.
18 minutes.
Okay. It's a good point.
Okay. All right. So, I hate this movie so much. I'm gonna run out of time screaming about it.
I love it.
Do you want to? Can we hold off and just do this next week? Oh no, we can't do it next week. I'm actually off next week. There's no show next week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. I'm gonna focus up, and we're gonna get through this. Okay.
Okay.
The only other important piece of backstory to this that's very, very relevant is the fact that there's an evil corporation.
Okay.
So, the people who own the Oasis, Gregarious Games, they are not the evil corporation. They are the richest corporation in the world, but they're not evil somehow. The second richest corporation in the world is something called IOI. I don't remember what that stands for. And their sole purpose, from my understanding, is to find the Easter egg so that they can control the Oasis and, in their own words, put ads everywhere, like pop-up ads.
Okay.
And the line that I actually thought was a little funny was, our research shows that we can consume 80% of the screen before the viewer gets nauseous.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
Like, that's a legitimate funny line.
Yeah, right on.
But the problem is, there are, like, both in the real world and the video game world, there seems to be no regulatory body until the very end where the cops show up.
Okay.
But this company has, like, a literal army in the real world and the virtual world. And they just sort of do what they want. Like, at one point, they crash through a dance, like a ball, or like a dance club. You know, a classic video game ball. They crash through this dance club, and soldiers just pour out and start blasting everything.
Do they claim to be a religion?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say that could be a loophole.
Yeah.
They're kind of a cult, though. IOI is kind of a cult.
Maybe. They have slave labor, so that's fun.
Yeah, it's Internet's Innovative Online Industries. IOI.
Okay.
So, who is regulating these things? Who is allowing a company to exist in your game that they can just literally do anything they want? They can show up and start shooting people.
Mods!
Okay, so fine point, Ty. You're correct. Maybe mods. Okay. But then why don't you just mod it so that you get control of the whole thing?
Because that's what mods are for.
What mods are for?
No, moderators. Like people who
Oh, I thought you were saying like game mods. You know, like they mod Skyrim.
No, I think there has to be like AI mods. Like AI jammies.
Well, where are they though?
They're AI. They're built into the programming.
But they're not built into this programming. That's what I'm saying. Like, who is stopping IOI from just ransacking everything?
Well, the reason they haven't is because of the AI mods. That's why you can't just like, you know, get a. That's why their crafting friend doesn't just build 100 million fucking Optimus Primes and then sell them all for like $1 and crash the entire marketplace.
That's not established in this movie.
The IOI corporation is in charge of the mods?
I don't know. I'm just throwing like some things out there.
No, I mean that's a reasonable premise.
This movie is hot garbo, and I agree with you all the way, Greg. Since Jump Street, you were the winner tonight.
Oh,
So-
good. Yeah, so like I just don't understand what's stopping them from running roughshod in the Oasis. They don't establish any sort of mod like he was talking about, or like some AI that comes in and shuts it down.
Right.
And also in the real world, there is no regulation. They have an army. At one point, they take drones and they go in and they blow up like a little shanty town, and no one stops them. And also, they have slave labor. Like they enslave people for it's indentured servitude. But
How
it's
far
just
into the future are we talking?
2045.
Imagine
Okay.
your neighbor is a little kid who's like dope at DDR, and all of a sudden drones come over and just snipe his entire fucking apartment building. It's like, wow, man, that was kind of fucked, huh? What? Oh, what? No one has a question here? Ah!
Right. Exactly. And like I get it, it's supposed to be dystopian. But
Sure.
also it just doesn't make any sense because there are police. They show
Right.
up and they arrest the bad guy at the end.
Let's find
well, I
out
guess
who this bad guy really was.
instances of where you have to make too many allowances.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They tell you something and you have to just say okay.
Right.
Because the second you say why, the
Right.
movie doesn't make any sense anymore.
I don't want to rush your walkthrough on here, but that happens to our main character.
What?
Like the big bad brings Percival in, and he's just like, here's what you need to do, and he's just like, okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm out of time, and I really want to go into more of this.
Yeah, I'm
And
sorry,
I honestly could have. I should have. If I had been able to watch, I was saying, I think off air. So I watched this. I saw this in theaters. I watched it a couple days ago. I was like, all right, this is the one. I went to go watch it again to take notes, and it was gone from Hulu. It was free on Hulu. I pay,
Right.
It was
Free on
Hulu.
Netflix. Free on
It was
Netflix.
free on Hulu 2 days ago, and then yesterday it was not, and I don't know what happened.
Oh,
I think it went to HBO Max, probably.
I have HBO Max. I checked; it wasn't there, but maybe tomorrow.
Weird.
Today's December 1st. Maybe they took it off on the 31st or 30th. Put it on tomorrow. So I meant to take notes, and I apologize because I have so many well thought out thoughts about this, but I'm rambling because I'm under the gun.
Yo, I hate cutting everybody short with this one. Greg, this has been one of my most favorite streams so far. You listen to you talk about Ready Player One, a movie that is the winner today. That is the one that did, worst movie ever.
Yeah. All right. Let me get to the points. I have three. So our three morals are: don't be a recluse like me. Don't spend all your time in the Oasis because real world is falling apart because of it, and trust your friends. Okay, these are the
Sure.
three moral lessons that are set up in most movies,
sure.
and this one. But in the end, Wade wins. He gets the girl for literally no reason. This hyper independent, super awesome girl who literally doesn't need Wade in any capacity just is like, oh, I'm with you now. He tells her he loves her on their first date.
Classic e-girl podcaster relationship.
Oh no, it's way worse than that. It's so much worse.
So Wade wins. He meets a ghost of James Holiday who is basically like, don't turn out like me, man, I guess. But Wade just doesn't do anything with it.
You gotta get your dick wet, bro.
Yeah. So he didn't need his friends. Oh, spoiler alert. All of his friends are within like a mile of him. People he didn't know in the real world. They just like literally show up at his door. And he's like, what? I thought you were in China. It's like, no, bud, we were all in Columbus the whole time.
Are you
We were
Percival?
inside of you.
I'm
Even
Smurfable.
Chinese, you're racist.
So he doesn't need his friends, so that moral out the window. He shuts down the Oasis on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Okay.
which is sort of like a cop out. Like, okay, he's trying to show people that you got to spend time in the real world to really
Right.
appreciate life. The problem is the real world sucks. So he is essentially forcing people to confront things that they're trying to escape from,
Right.
not fixing them, just forcing them.
Just fucking cope, bro.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
maybe go out there and like sow some fucking seeds, man. Plant a garden. Just
In this world, everything sucks. There's no food, there's no water. Everybody lives on top of each other. In the book, 15 people live in a trailer.
Jesus.
Right, and he even says that that one's not that bad. That like,
God.
you know, most trailers have 30 people in them.
Jesus.
Everyone is huddled together. There's no energy. There's roving bandits on the streets, like literally in the, you know. So like, if all these people have is this escapist thing, like I get it. You can't escape reality because then things just go to shit.
Sure.
But there's no way that's the way to do it. You are
Right.
quite literally the richest person on the planet now. And you could
Right.
be like, I shut down the Oasis on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and in those days I used the money to support, outreach in low-income communities.
Sure.
I fixed the sun, which was dying, with all of my money. I'm the richest person on the planet, in a planet with no money.
we launched Bruce Willis into the sun.
Yeah. And then the last moral, which I think it actually does support, but it's bad, is kiss the girl.
Right.
You know, like the whole premise of the movie is that this guy fell in love with this girl, again, immediately on the first date. That's a thing this movie supports, that first love at first sight exists, and if you just kiss her, you'll be happy.
Weird and gross.
Weird and gross.
Gross and
And that's what
weird.
Wade does. He's like, I'm gonna learn the lesson that James Holiday didn't. I'm gonna go for it. And then they literally show him kissing the girl. So what is the moral of your movie? The only one that you set up and execute on is kiss the girl.
Right.
The other two, which is don't ignore reality, that's not supported by the text.
No.
And trust in your friends, also not supported by the text.
What about play video games? Because that's what I've been doing.
Maybe.
So-
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this was so rambly.
No, dude.
I loved every
This
second
was
of it.
this was literally one of my favorite episodes we've done in a long time.
Brilliant.
I wanted more of it.
It's second only
I-
to Cat's Cast.
I wish, like, it's this and Cat's Cast. Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I could be here longer. This is just the worst day for it. We are going to be off next week because I have to work for Sean, that walking abortion. But we will be off and on, in and out, after that way. Greg, we would love to hear you talk more about.
Absolutely. I want
You know what?
more.
All right, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna actually write my thoughts down, and I will give you like a quick 10 minutes next week to actually finish solidifying my argument.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes.
But Greg, congratulations. You won the first episode of
The one.
The One.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
Greg is the
I put a lot
one.
of thought into this. And the problem,
Yeah,
I
dude.
know we're leaving. The problem I ran into is like I brought this up to a couple people. Like I asked them, I was like, "What do you think the worst movie is?" And they would tell me, and all their answers were wrong. And I said, "I think I'm leaning towards Ready Player One." And almost everybody I said that to was like, "Really? I kind of like that movie." And I
Weird.
get that.
No,
And I
dude,
get
if
that.
you'd have said that, I'd be like, "Fuck, you win." The more
Now-
you said that, it's like, "Oh, I hate that movie."
When I left that movie, I left upset. I was like, this was visually, like this was an affront to my eyes, and I felt sad that they decided that this was what a movie is. But it worked on people, and that upsets me more in like the abstract is why I think this is a bad movie. But people were able to check out during this movie and enjoy it, and I think that's a shame because if you think about it even a little bit, not only is it not a good movie, but I think it's actually borderline offensive to those things. It treats its audience as if they are only nostalgia machines.
I honestly
But if
think.
people liked it, maybe they're right.
Well,
You shut your butt.
there is a place for nostalgia. I don't begrudge that. I really
Right.
truly don't. Like I like things. I'm buying a $200 Monkey Island box set next week.
Hot.
Aw.
So hot.
I honestly believe that that Ready Player One was Spielberg's attempt at Avatar.
I would agree with you to an extent.
Where so it's
I also think it was I think in a weird way that this was Steven Spielberg being nostalgic. He was some of it he was quite literally recreating his past. Like E.T. is in
Right.
this movie.
oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, good
You know,
call.
when Steven Spielberg made this movie, he was 71 years old. This
Wow.
and the last time he had made a blockbuster was War of the Worlds in 2003.
Right.
So I think to him, this was his chance to relive his nostalgia.
And it sucked.
And it sucked. And it sucked. It didn't work, but it works for Steven Spielberg and it worked for
Right.
other people. And I can't begrudge that. But at the same time, like I find it offensive that this movie just expects you to love those things like that. That's not how
Right.
I work, and that's not how nostalgia really works.
If
And that's
someone
not how a story works.
you can't even give me a giant Wilson to ride into battle. Come on. Wilson.
Oh, I thought you meant Wilson from Home Improvement. You're just riding the top half of a
Technically.
man's face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Technically,
fine.
like,
Sure.
on
Great.
fence.
Even better.
Sliding across the wasteland. Oh,
Yeah. Why not?
All right, Ty, you gotta go. I gotta pee. Let's get out of here.
All right. Greg, you win tonight. Ready Player One, worst movie ever. We did it. We got there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Although
did
we,
rewatch Suicide Squad and Doolittle for this, by the way.
you
Yes.
son of a bitch. Oh. You know what? I forgive you for missing out on super
I'm so
intelligence. Then
Yeah. You've been suffering.
that's
Yeah.
fine. I've been your host, the man of 1,004 names. Tyrell Snickle. Find me on Twitter at 1,004 names. Patreon.com/WCWTF podcast. Booker 2 keeps everything going. You know, always helps.
Sure.
On Twitch, like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is. You know,
You know what to
Yes.
do.
we're all on the internet. Just do it. Just go. Just do it. Just do it.
I'm Faith. You can find me on Twitter at Carly Pilkers.
And I'm Killer Greg. You can find me at Killer Greg17 on Twitter.
We will see you guys in a couple weeks, and it's gonna be a good one. I know it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be a good one.
Bye. Did I ever wear this before? This is my Drake sweatshirt.
I love it.
Didn't I get you that?
I don't know if you did.
Pretty sure I got you the Drake sweater.
Well, thanks, Ty. This sweatshirt, dope.
Later, nerds.
Bye.
Bye.